55% of Americans now say that same-sex marriages should be legal and valid. That's the highest that we have measured on that since we began tracking it a number of decades ago. In fact, let's go back to 1996 when we first asked the question. At that point, 27% of Americans said they approved of same-sex marriage. Almost two-thirds said that they did not. That changed over the years and rose some, but it wasn't until 2011 that we had a majority of Americans saying that they approved. Those numbers have vacillated a little over the years since then, but this 55% by 2 points, as I mentioned, is now the highest that we have measured, and we're down to 42% of Americans who say that the same-sex marriages should not be legal, and that's the lowest that we've seen on that measure. Big differences by demographics on this measure. One of the ones that a lot of people talk about, age. Look at that, 78% of 18 to 29-year-olds say yes to same-sex marriage. Contrast that with those that are 65 plus, where it's all the way down to 42%. So age clearly is one of the big variables on this attitudinal dimension. And a lot of people argue that as the older population in America dies off and is replaced by younger Americans, unless they change their attitudes, that's going to drive these positive attitudes towards same-sex marriage even higher. Of course, there is a political dimension to this. 30% of Republicans say yes, 74% of Democrats. There's also a regional difference, which is quite interesting. In the East, two-thirds of Americans say yes to same-sex marriage, and you can contrast that with the South, where it's as low as 48%. Overall, though, in our continuing trend measures of Americans' attitudes towards legal same-sex marriage, we've reached a new high of 55% who say yes. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Gallup Editor-in-Chief.